Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to AP World History. Yay! I think it's our 8th or ninth class. So we have been together for almost a whole month, which is really exciting, guys. All right, so today we are finally getting around to talking about trading routes. So we have talked pretty extensively about China, we've talked about South Asia, we've talked about Africa, all right, we've talked about the Islamic world. So you guys are pretty much experts on period one and what the world in Eurasia looked like, okay? So that's awesome. But here's how we're going to tie all of these geographical regions together. And we're going to do it through trade. Okay? So guys, I wanted to start on this slide because you guys have looked at this picture pretty much since we've started class. All right? No one has asked what you were looking at though. All right, this is a drawing, a piece of artwork on what the Silk Road probably looked like. Okay, so again, you've probably heard me mention the Silk Road over and over and over again in this class. And there's a reason for it, all right? It's super duper important, okay? Again, guys, when I had you guys do that periodization assignment, I wanted you guys to think about how history tends to be opinion-based. And the Silk Road, according to College Board, is one of the most important things you need to know, okay? All trading is gonna be exceptionally important, okay? And we're gonna talk about two routes today. Today, we're gonna look almost exclusively at land-based trading routes. So we're talking about two in particular. One is the Silk Road, which we have in this picture, and another one is the TransSaharan trading route, which I will talk about in just a minute. All right, guys, so attendance, got that through. Warm up. So today I want to tell you a little bit about why we are shifting gear and going on to Unit 2 rather than finishing up Unit 1. All right, so you might notice that this is our first class in which, yes, we're staying in period 1, but we're actually going into Unit 2, okay? But Ms. Garner, we haven't finished the global tapestry, Unit 1. So why are we shifting gears? 1 minute, guys. I will get to that. And it's super important why we're doing what we're doing. Okay? After that, we are going to get to starting Unit 2. So today we are actually going to look pretty extensively at two topics. We're going to look at 2.1, which is called the Silk Road, and 2.4, which is called the Trans-Saharan. Okay, so I would recommend following along on your unit guides. So I've told you the unit guides are on Canvas. All right, they're under Files, under Unit Guides. I told you it probably best if you printed them out and took notes. Okay. When we get back to the classroom, I will definitely be giving you a copy, but I would recommend having them now. All right, so at the end of class, I'm going to give you guys time to work on your review guides. Remember, the period 1 test is coming up, all right? And as I've said, you could wait till the last minute to do the review guide, but I'm giving you time now to get this done, all right? You've already handed in your digital notebooks, all right? So you did that in last class. So instead of giving you extra work today, I'm going to give you time to work on your review guides. So please get started on that, okay? You should probably be halfway done after this lesson. All right, so as for our warm-up, all right, so I have shown you guys this nice little graphic right here, the global tapestry. We have pretty much done half of Unit 1, all right? We talked about the Song Dynasty. We've talked about the developments in East Asia, Japan, Korea. We've talked about the Islamic states, okay? We've talked about South and Southeast Asia. We talked about those confluence of Hinduism and Buddhism and Islam, okay? We also talked about state building in Africa, okay? We talked about Mansa Musa. We've talked about how Islam has spread, okay? Now, as you can see up there, guys, there are still two more topics that we have to get through. But we're going to do something a little bit different, all right? And the other AP World History classes will do the same thing. So right now, when we talk about East Asia and the Islamic states and South Asia and Africa, we're basically talking about one expansive geographical space. Okay, we're talking about Eurasia and Africa, all of which are connected via like land routes. Okay. The other topics, the Americas and Europe are a little bit different. Okay, while Europe is connected, thematically, it's probably going to be easier for all of us to finish with Eurasia as well as Africa before we move on to the Americas and Europe. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to talk about the trading routes. So the trading routes are going to make Europe and Asia, well, Eurasia, the Middle East, North Africa, Africa, they're going to connect all of these areas very, very extensively, all right, in a lot of this early globalization, okay? So again, guys, we're going to skip these, all right, state building in the Americas and developments in Europe. We're going to skip them for just a little bit, okay? We will get back to these by the end of the unit, all right, excuse me, the period. So today, again, we are looking at topic 2.1, the Silk Roads, and topic 2.4, the Trans-Saharan trade routes, okay? Now, these two trading routes are going to connect East Asia, the Islamic states, South and Southeast Asia, as well as Africa, okay? Make sure you understand that thematically, this is how I'm going to structure our class. But don't fear, guys, we will get to everything. You need to know everything on this slide, all right? We will get there. So let me give you another explanation, guys, okay? As I said, it's really much easier if we make the world regions that are already connected via trade into kind of one unit. So that is why we are talking about Africa, Asia, East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East. We're talking about those. Then we'll talk about the trading routes. And then we're going to set the stage for the next period, actually. Period 2, we're going to look much more extensively at Europe and South America and North America. All right. So thematically, it's a little bit easier to do it this way. Okay. So make sure you understand that I'm not just flying off the rails. There is a method to the madness. Okay. All right, guys, so as I said, I recommend you follow along with the guides. And by doing so, I would recommend you print out Unit 2, okay? If you choose not to, that is okay. But again, every one of my slides is going to be connected to a historical development in the AP World History curriculum, okay? So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, guys. So, as I said, today we are talking about land-based trading routes, okay? The other kind of trading route we will talk about is maritime, all right, which is another fancy name for water, okay? Today we are looking at routes that uniquely go over land, okay? The Silk Road right here is going to take us over the land, all right? The Trans-Saharan right here is going to take us uniquely over land, okay? This is important, guys, all right? Land-based trading routes and maritime-based trading routes are a little bit different, okay? And some of the world that we've studied up to now is not land-based connected, all right, or is not maritime connected, okay? But you need to understand, today we're talking about the Silk Road and the Trans-Saharan. All right, guys, so you don't have to write this down, all right? Every one of our slides this is gonna be a header for the upcoming slides, okay? But I wanted you to get a sense of some of the major themes associated with land-based trading, okay? So what we're gonna see, guys, is that there's gonna be an expansion of trade routes, okay? So again, think of AP World History as opinion-based, right? College Board has decided rather arbitrarily to drop us into the year 1200. And by doing so, it might give you the impression that these trading routes are new, and they're not. Okay, trading amongst Eurasia and Africa has been going on for a lot longer of a time. All right, we just are kind of focusing on what this trade means for the development of the world after 1200. Okay. What you're going to see in just a few short minutes is the creation of new cities, okay? New cities are going to have to develop on these trading routes, right? We're going to have more merchants. We're going to have people wanting luxury goods. You're going to need bigger cities, all right? New forms of money, okay? As I said to you a couple weeks ago, the bartering system, okay? So this thing of flowers for your 6 loaves of bread, that's not really gonna work when you're dealing with civilizations across the world. So we're gonna see the creation of new forms of money. We're gonna see the creation of checking accounts, okay? The trade of luxury goods. All right, luxury goods in period 1 are a little bit different than what you think of luxury goods today. All right, we're not talking about Louis Vuitton bags or, fancy jewelry, okay? We're talking about silk and porcelain and spices, okay? Make sure you understand that even though this doesn't maybe seem like a luxury good to you, these trading routes are going to be based on the trade of luxury goods, okay? And guys, we're going to see improved transportation technologies, okay? Merchants are going to be traversing deserts, oceans. They're going to be traveling the world far and wide, and they're going to need the easiest way to kind of get there, all right? We're going to have more technology with camel saddles, all right? We're going to have compasses created. We're going to have the creation of money, okay? We're going to have, do you guys remember we talked about the caravanserai, okay? And while all of this is happening, knowledge is being transferred, okay? A Muslim merchant who is leaving Egypt is going to China, and he's going to bring his mathematical equations, all right, his culture, his religion with him, okay? We're going to have the spread of culture and religion, just as I said, guys, okay? You're going to see these world religions, all right? You're going to see these missionary religions popping up all over this area, all right? You're going to get a spread of new crops. So things that didn't used to grow in China are suddenly going to start growing and feeding more people. Okay, and finally, you're going to see disease, which I know hits us a little close to home considering we're living in a global pandemic right now, but just work with me here. Okay, so let's start. All right, guys, so I wanted to give you a sense of what the Silk Road looks like, okay? The Silk Road is essentially going to start kind of in China, right? So Beijing, and it's going to cut across China. It's going to go through what we now know as the kind of the stands, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. You don't have to know that, that's okay. It's going to come across Iran and Iraq into Turkey. And usually from Turkey, it's going to get into Europe, okay? I just wanted you to get a sense of how big this Silk Road is. And so if a good starting off in China is not necessarily going to end up in Europe. All right, people are going to trade things along the way, okay? So the other route that we're talking about is the TransSaharan trade route. So I bet a lot of you have spoken about the Silk Road before, but maybe you've never heard of the TransSaharan, okay? So the Trans-Saharan is probably, yes, it is the biggest desert in the entire world. So this world map up here kind of gives you a sense of what we're talking about. All right. This is the Trans-Saharan desert. All right. It is a very difficult climate to traverse. All right. It is sand for miles, heavy, heavy heat. Okay. And yet people are going to traverse from Western Africa to Northern Africa and to get onto the Silk Road. All right, they're going to do that by crossing this very unforgiving desert. So they're going to do so by usually traveling on camels. All right, we'll talk more about that in just a second. But again, I wanted you guys to get a sense of what this route is going to look like. Okay. All right, guys, so the expansion of land-based trades. All right, guys. So as I said at the beginning of this lecture, I don't want you guys to get the idea that simply because college boards started at 1200, that the Silk Road and the Trans-Saharan routes were new, all right? They just started in 1200 because they didn't, all right? They existed long before that, all right? People are going to be trading pretty much since the beginning of time, all right? Or what we would consider the beginning of time. But what you're going to see in period one is that these routes are going to expand, all right? They're going to grow. So on the maps that we just looked at, there wasn't really just, I mean, there looked like there was one road, but what you'll eventually start to see is that there's going to be more little like secondary roads. All right, people are going to start expanding their cities and opening up more places to trade. Okay, more and more people are going to begin engaging in this worldwide, globalized trade. All right, it's mostly going to be Muslim merchants, as we discussed. But in period one, more and more places and people are going to start trading, right? They're going to start engaging in this system of commerce. All right, so what you guys need to know is that when there is more and more commerce, right, and there is more and more business being had, you're going to see that they're going to have to start building more and more cities to, offer lodging for people, more and more places for people to actually trade. Okay. And what you're going to see is that cities that sort of spring up on these land-based trade routes are always going to be centers of trade. Okay. People are going to stay there. People are going to engage in commerce. All right. They're also going to be places of politics. Okay. Places of religion. Okay. So, guys, I want to give you kind of a modern example of this. All right. We all live in Columbus, Georgia, right? Columbus, Georgia is going to be similar to these cities. All right. We have major centers of trade. Think about the major businesses here in Columbus. You've got TSYS, all right. You've got Aflac, all right. Major businesses. Politics, all right. Have you guys ever seen that huge building in the middle of downtown? All right. Columbus is going to be a center of both trade and politics. It's also going to be a center of religion. There's so many Christian churches, so many synagogues, mosques, all right, Buddhist temples. Okay, Columbus, Georgia is a good example of one of these kinds of cities. All right, lots of trade occurring, and so the city is going to expand. Well, if you take this modern example and you put it back, you're going to see these kinds of cities like growing on these trading routes. All right. We talked a little bit about Timbuktu. Right? It's the Western Africa example of a city on a trading route, but you also have a good example like in Baghdad, okay, Iraq. So, going to be on the Silk Road. Okay, guys, so we're still talking about these cities. All right, these cities that are going to spring up on these trading routes are going to tend to be cosmopolitan. All right, so they're going to have lots of different people. They're going to have access to lots of different foods and religions and stores, all that fun stuff. Okay. But the only way that these cities are going to be successful is that they have to have access to food. Okay. They have to rely on prosperous farming. And you have to have periods of peace. So think about that, guys. Pick any city on these trading routes, right? Baghdad, for example. If there's a war going on, all right, traders are not going to want to come into the city to stay, all right? Or if there is a major famine in the surrounding regions, traders are not going to be able to come in and trade things because there's no food, all right? There's no access to prosperous farming. So you need to make sure you understand that these cities rely on just outside of them to have access to farming, okay? So again, farmers are critical. I know a lot of the social hierarchies we've talked about had farmers kind of at the bottom, but just know that without farmers, we're not going to have trading routes, okay? So guys, as we've talked about in this class, the Islamic world, India, China, all of these places that we have talked about, these geographical regions, are gonna have these trading cities, okay? So guys, other things that are gonna happen, all right? You're gonna have to figure out a new way to access monetization, excuse me, it's a tough word. All right, guys, so again, let's think about that example. All right, you're gonna be, let's see, an Egyptian trader, and you're gonna go off to Beijing, China, and trade something, okay? But like, no one in China is going to take the form of money that you use in Egypt, all right? So you're gonna have to find a way to actually be able to use money to buy things, to trade for things, okay? So what these trading routes are gonna do are they're really gonna prompt people to figure out good ways of using money. Okay, you're gonna get checking systems. So people are gonna be able to access banking. People are gonna be able to convert money. Okay. The big thing, guys, is that there's gonna be paper money. Okay, China's gonna create a paper money system. What that means is that no longer are you having to do barter systems because you don't have the same money that someone in another civilization does. All right, now you're using a more standard form of money. Okay, it's kind of like right now in the world, if you go traveling, okay, every country uses its own currency, but a lot of places will take the US dollar because it's safe, okay, because it's kind of considered a worldwide monetary practice, okay? So guys, this new monetization system is going to render bartering no longer necessary, all right? Okay, guys, so we have talked about this over and over and over again, but I wanted everything to be on one slide for you, okay? So increased demand for luxury goods, all right? So, guys, what are we doing here, all right? We've talked about East Asia, we've talked about things in China. What are the most common things you're gonna find or you're gonna trade for in China? Silk, all right, porcelain and iron. All right, South Asia, spices and textiles. Remember, guys, we said textiles was a fancy word for clothing. All right, North Africa really needs salt. And I know you all thought that was kind of weird, right? Salt is so cheap, it's so common. Whenever you go to a restaurant, you dump it all over because who cares? Salt is very critical in Africa, all right? Not only is it gonna be something that you put on your food, but salt actually keeps people alive, all right? It helps people retain water, and North Africa has very hot climates. You need salt to retain water. All right, West Africa. West Africa is going to have lots and lots of gold. All right, so they're going to trade, West Africa is going to trade gold for salt. Okay, this is important stuff. This is considered a luxury good. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, huh, this is very different than what I would consider a luxury good today, right? Most of you guys think about your iPhones or your Louis Vuitton bags as luxury goods. But I want you guys to remember that luxury goods in period one is a little bit different, okay? As these routes are going to expand, people with money are going to be more and more exposed to these luxury goods, okay? So it's not that different than today. Let's think about it, guys. The people with the most wealth in America can afford the more expensive goods, right? And then eventually they're going to buy stuff and eventually prices are going to go down. But for a while, only the elites can afford these luxury goods, okay? So it's going to kind of create that social stratification because only the rich people can buy these porcelain cups or this beautiful silk, okay? But it's going to contribute to an expansion of trade because everyone is going to want some of this good. All right. So more and more people are going to engage in this trade and prices are going to lower. Okay. And soon all of this stuff is going to be accessible to whomever, whatever sort of socioeconomic status. Okay. So, guys, Again, as trading is going to expand, so too is the transportation technology. Okay, so again, lots and lots and lots and lots of people are engaging in this trade. All right, people are leaving Egypt to go to China. They're leaving Indonesia to go to Turkey. Okay, and they're having to figure out kind of ways that make this trade a little less awful. Okay, so you're going to see a lot more technology being created. So I know it seems odd, but the camel is considered a technology. Okay, I know they're kind of funny looking, right? But camels are pretty cool. All right, they actually can cross very long spanses of desert with very limited amounts of water. So you're going to see a camel saddle created, a saddle being something you can sit on. All right, camels are really uncomfortable to sit on. They're kind of these funny things with two humps. So you'll have a nice saddle to sit on that will also be able to hold things. All right, hold things for your trading. Okay. As we talked about, guys, East Asia, China's going to create a compass. Okay, compasses are very important. If you're crossing the Sahara Desert and you get lost, well, your compass will get you back on track. Okay, and as we talked about, guys, the caravanserai. So, these Islamic states are going to create these lodging, these sort of holiday inns of olden times, in which people will be able to go and stay, and buy food and buy water, and to have like safety. Okay, and these caravanserai are going to be exactly a day apart from each other. Okay, make sure you guys understand this. All right, guys, so knowledge transfers. All right, pretty important stuff. So, paper, gunpowder, and printing is going to go from East Asia to the Middle East. Okay, kind of easy to think about. All right, Arabic numerals are going to go from the Middle East to Europe. So, I know it's a little tricky right now to think about, but the reason that we call them Arabic numerals, even though they came from South Asia, okay? Basically, Arabic numerals are going to travel to the Middle East via these trading routes, all right? And Muslim merchants are going to bring them to Europe. So Europe's going to assume that it's these Muslim merchants who created Arabic numerals, when in actuality, they came from South Asia, okay? The other thing that's considered a technology, and you might argue this point, is champa. So remember when we talked about China and we talked about how China was able to get champa rice from Vietnam, right? Champa rice is critical. It grows twice a year. That means you can double your food production. Okay, I know this does not seem like it would be considered a technology, but College Board says it is. Therefore, you should know that it is a technology. Okay. And cultural transfers. Oh my goodness, this is the big one, guys. We have talked about this since we started class. You guys know the difference between a missionary religion and a non-missionary religion. Okay, a missionary religion like Islam, Buddhism, okay? Non-missionary religion, Taoism, Confucianism. Okay, those are just a few examples. But what you're going to see with these Silk Roads is that not only is our trading goods, like luxury goods, going to be spread along these trading routes, but also religion. All right, lots of culture will be spread as well. So you will soon see that Buddhism is going to make its way from India up into East Asia. Okay. Now, guys, I think some of you were a little tripped up by the difference in the Buddhas. All right, so I know a couple of you asked me, like, why does Buddha look different at Chinese restaurants? Okay, if Buddha originally looked like that because he came from India. Here's the answer, guys. Even though you'll have this cultural transfer where religion is going to spread, a lot of times it also has to adapt. Okay, and in China, you're going to see a much greater propensity for more appreciation for larger, happier people. Okay, and that is why Buddha is going to adapt to the Chinese culture. It's still going to practice the same important like tenets of the same Buddhism that came from India, but Buddha's going to look different. All right, so that's an example of a cultural transfer. even though not everything transferred over perfectly, all right, religion is going to adapt to its climate, okay? Buddhism and Hinduism is going to spread to Southeast Asia. All right, even though we said Hinduism is not a missionary religion, it still will slowly creep into this area, okay? And it will do so while people migrate. Islam is going to spread to West Africa, right? We talked about how Mansa Musa became a Muslim, all right? And more people in West Africa also became practicing Muslims, all right? Islam came into West Africa via the Trans-Saharan trading route, all right? Islam is also going to spread along the Silk Road, all right? And while it spreads, it's going to bring the language of Arabic with it, all right? As we talked about, guys, Islam believed that in order to read the word of God, you had to read it in the spoken language that it was first spoken in, all right? So Islam believes you needed to read the Quran in Arabic. So Arabic will spread. Okay. All right, guys. So other things that are going to spread. All right. Champa, we talked about this just a second ago. All right. It's going to be that rice that comes from Southeast Asia. It's going to grow multiple times a year. All right. It's going to double the food production capacity of China. And if China can produce more food equals more people. Okay. Other really cool and interesting things, guys, we can thank the Islamic world for coffee, citrus, and sugar. So I talked about coffee when we talked about the Islamic world, guys. We talked about how, Muslims ban alcohol, but in order to get a buzz during the day, Muslims created the coffee culture, okay? And if you want really good coffee, you got to put a little sugar in it. Boom. All right, citrus is really cool though, guys. So as citruses are going to come, all right, from sort of the Middle East, what's going to happen is that while Muslim merchants continue to slowly take over, slowly come into new lands via these trading routes, they're going to bring crops with them, okay? So guys, when the Islamic world spreads into Spain, they're going to bring citrus with them, okay? So Spain's going to have citrus. Here's a cool one for you though, guys. You know who's going to come to the New World and settle in what we now know as Florida? It's going to be Spain, all right? America's citrus production comes from Florida, all right? That's where Spain is going to settle. So next time you drink that orange juice before my class, we can thank the Islamic world for that, okay? Tea is going to come to China from India, all right? So tea is such a critical part of Chinese culture, and it's not even originally going to come from there, okay? But while all these good things are spreading and coming into these new places, bad things are going to spread too, guys. All right, bad things are going to spread along with merchants. So I know that you guys all like your nasty, gross pictures, and I promise we will talk more about the bubonic plague. But just know that for now, that these new trading routes are going to bring diseases with them, okay? And the most common one is going to be the bubonic plague, okay? The bubonic plague at some point is going to kill off a third of the population of Europe. All right, I know it feels a little weird to talk about a plague when we live in a global pandemic, but I didn't get to decide what to teach today, so just buck up, guys. Just know that the spread of diseases is not a new thing at all, okay? The bubonic plague is going to spread on the Silk Road. It's going to come out of Asia and it's going to go into Europe. All right. All right, guys. So this is an awesome, slightly ADD feeling map. Okay. It is what I think to be one of the most interesting maps and one of the most crucial maps you're going to need for this class. So if you look at it and you're like, there's just too much going on, I can't look at it, Ms. Garner, I can't. I get it. But I think it's really, really helpful because it shows the spread of things along these trading routes. Now, we're going to look at this map again because it shows you the maritime trading routes, and we will talk about them again soon. But I wanted you guys to see that everything on this map shows how cultural transfers, religious transfers, okay, crops, commodities, goods, all this really important stuff. I have no idea why Iron Man is on there. Oh, there we go, iron and steel. So guys, make sure when you get the opportunity to take a look at this map, okay? I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's really, really a great map to kind of give us an idea of what all is coming out of these cultural exchanges, these networks of trading routes, okay? So last thing that I need you guys to know for today, okay? Not only are people trading diseases and crops and goods and all that fun stuff, but you're all of a sudden going to get a bunch of new world travelers. Okay. Now, College Board wants you to know the name of both of them. All right. The first one is this guy right here, Ibn Battuta. All right. He is from Morocco, which is North Africa. Now, he is going to travel all over the map that we just looked at. Okay, he's going to visit all the diasporic cities around the trading routes. He's going to visit other Muslim diasporic cities. Okay, and this other guy right here, well, if you've ever been to a pool, I think you've heard of him. All right, this guy's going to be Marco Polo. We're going to talk a lot more about this guy. This guy has a very cool story. He's going to go from being this Italian merchant to actually working in the bureaucracy of a Mongol dynasty, okay? So stay tuned for that. That one's gonna be a fun lesson. But I wanted you guys to see the sort of routes these two explorers had. So Battuta, coming out of here, right? He's from Tangier. He is gonna go all over the world, okay? We will probably look at some of his writing later on in class. Whereas Marco Polo is going to come down from Italy and go onto the Silk Roads. Okay. So again, guys, I want you to think about this for a minute. This is before trains and airplanes and, like before, like for me, before seasickness tablets. So the amount of world traveling these two men did is pretty amazing. And so if you sit back and look at these maps, and think about all the things that they saw. That's really cool, okay? All right, guys, so you guys handed in your digital notebooks last class. So I'm probably still grading those. It might not be, I'm not sure, we'll see. But I'm not gonna make you guys do another writing assignment today. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Instead, I want you to work on your review guides, all right? This test is coming up. We'll probably have it in a few weeks. I will give you a date at a closer time. All right, we still have some more things to cover, but I want you to start these review guides. All right, please don't wait until the night before the test. All right, this is a 6-page review guide, and we have already done more than half of the material. You should be able to answer these. Okay, so go ahead and do that right now. All right, guys, so that is all I have for you today. Continue to be as amazing as you all are, and I'm so proud of you for overcoming all this adversity, all right? Virtual ed is not easy, and you guys are doing fabulous, all right? So keep it up, all right? Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon.